What's up, people? Welcome back to Chris Chats Comics. My name is Chris Gonzalez, and today it's another episode of Trade Talk Tuesdays, where I discuss either one trade paperback or a series of trade paperbacks, or it doesn't have to be a paperback at all. It could be a graphic novel, hardcover, whatever. But anyway, on this week's episode, I'm going to be discussing Captain America by Mark Waid, Chris Samnee, Matthew Wilson on the colors, and this is essentially part 3 of Waid and Samnee month. And the reason I say that is because past couple weeks I've been going over titles with Mark Waid and Chris Samnee teaming with each other, and I just I'm going to reiterate that they're one of my favorite creative duos in the comics industry right now. And yeah, so little context, I have never actually read a Captain America solo comic before. This was my first one. And again, I've read him when he's a part of the Avengers, similar with Black Widow. And when he shows up in different stories, he did show up in Mark Waid's Daredevil run, and I really liked that issue. It was either an issue or two where Cap showed up. But yeah, this is my first time, and this was released, I think, after their Black Widow run in 2017. And correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but this trade paperback is titled Home of the Brave, and it collects Captain America number 695 through 700, again written by Mark Waid, and art by Chris Samnee, Matthew Wilson on the art, Joe Caramagna on the letter. So pretty much the same creative team from the Black Widow series. And yeah, I'm going to read the excerpt on the back, as I always do. So, the Eisner Award-winning creative team reunites to work its magic on the greatest hero of all. That's debatable. Captain America. Steve Rogers is back in shield-slinging action and on a journey across the nation he loves to restore his tarnished reputation, but the dangers he encounters require more courage than ever. And when he faces an all-new swordsman, strap yourselves in for a sword versus shield duel unlike anything you've ever seen. Then, in the far future, Cap faces the worst nightmare as a man out of time once again. And to save his country, he must adopt his strangest role yet. Be there as Captain America is reimagined through the eyes of a pair of living legends. And so yeah, and for more added context, during this time in the Captain America run, again, I don't know any of the context, so I don't know what transpired beforehand. So I was going into this series pretty fresh, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but like both their Daredevil run and their Black Widow book and the Batman and Robin Year One, this book just once again proved to me that Mark Waid and Chris Samnee, whenever they work together, they don't miss. Not one bad comic that I've read when they're a part of it. So, but yeah, let's jump into the story of this one. So, issue 695, goes over a brief summary for those brand new jumping into a Captain America book, what's going on, and similar to the movie in the MCU. And again, the artwork by Chris Samnee, just really, really fun. Again, bringing that classic Silver Age style, just in a modern setting. So and Matthew Wilson's colors just make the art just really, really beautiful, you know? So Cap, he is fighting with this group. I think they're called the Ramparts. I believe they're called the Rampart, but this book is essentially, he's going on a road trip, traveling from rural town to rural town. Well, at least the first couple of issues. So this is like a flashback. So he deals with this terrorist group, and he saves, and he's they're in a small town. Cap, he saves this small town from a terrorist group, and yeah, he just saves them, and he's being that heroic figure that Cap is supposed to be, you know? So he saves this town, and just, again, the artwork, really great. And honestly reading this comic and not really being a Captain America fan, reading this comic, I got why people really like Captain America as a character. He's very similar. Him and Superman are very, you know, morally, they have similar characteristics. And this is, you know, the optimistic view of what America could be personified into a superhero. So yeah, this town is called Burlington, Nebraska, and only has like under 7,000 people. So he saves them, and then that's in the past, and then he shows up 10 years later. Again, I really like how the way Chris Samnee does facial expressions, just really expressive. But anyway, Cap, he goes back to this town. They rename the town to Captain America, Nebraska, because he saved them 10 years earlier. And then, yeah, he's going as Steve Rogers. They have a Captain America festival, and he's just talking with the townspeople. Some people know who he is, some think he's just some random person, but yeah, but you can see here that the terrorist group that he faced earlier, they're back. So essentially they come back to this town to seek revenge. And just, again, the artwork is just really great. And then just in this part, the town people, the citizens there, just expressing how Captain America helped them. And so, yeah, really, really cool. And then, but yeah, that terrorist group, they, again, seeking revenge for what had happened, and they attack the festival. Cap shows up and kicks their butts once again. Really great. Look at that. Just look at the art. Just marvel at the artwork for a second. Look at how beautiful that is. Chris Samnee, man. I haven't met him yet, but if I ever get the chance, I'm gonna express to him how much I love his artwork. So yeah, Cap, once again, he saves the town from this terrorist group. I think they're called Ramparts. Pretty sure they're called Rampart, but yeah, that's pretty much the first issue. Just he saves this town twice from this terrorist group. They love him. And then, so yeah, it was really cool. And then the next issue 696. Again, Cap is on his road trip. Just now he's at this diner. He's offering to clean the dishes for food, but the owner of the diner, he's like, no, you're Cap. It's on the house. So people are coming up to him, just fanning out. And then, meanwhile, elsewhere, the swordsman is watching the newscast, and he's preparing to fight Cap. So yeah, there's a double page spread, but yeah, look at this. So, before I get there, so the swordsman, he broadcasts, he's calling out Cap, trying to lure Cap to fight him. He's killed a few people right here, And he's like, yo, Cap, come here and fight me, pretty much. So look at this. So Cap hears that and he's on his way. So, but look at that spread page. Just very beautiful. The line work, the colors, the details on the motorcycle, just very beautiful. And again, can't say enough about Chris Samnee, man. Dude's a genius. So they get into the fight, and their fight was pretty cool. I like the dynamic of the fights. The panel layouts, the sequencing of their fight was really enthralling and captivating, and just very action-packed fight. And I like this double spread. Again, not too much dialogue. Let the visuals tell the story, and it's just a great fight. So Swordsman, he had set up a explosive to take out this dam that could flood the town, and that Cap's at, and Cap saves him. He races to disable the bomb, and so he takes the sword. I thought this was cool. He took the Swordsman's sword to prevent the dam from blowing up. So again, see there, he's using the sword, and again, he saves the town once again, and he rides out. But who is watching him? Well, it is revealed that this guy, Kraven is hunting Cap. And so that last panel of him in the shadows overlooking and watching Cap, that was pretty cool. So the next issue 697, Cap is at this bar. Again, he's just on a road trip. Cap's just chilling on a road trip. And so yeah, he's at this pool hall and playing this girl and just saying, reflecting that he's Captain America. But I like how, again, the artwork showing how they're playing pool is pretty cool. So he's flirting with this girl, but whoa, what happened? Girl ends up playing him and drugging him. And then Cap, he wakes up. He's in the captivity of Kraven the Hunter. So essentially, Kraven, he's giving Cap a proposition like, hey, let me hunt you, essentially. Let's do the most dangerous game. And yeah, let me hunt. And Cap's like, you can't hold me down. I'm not gonna play your game. So, but Kraven reveals that he has kidnapped somebody and put him in this environment where if Cap doesn't save him and participate in the game, he's gonna risk getting this guy killed. So Cap, being Cap, he goes out to this jungle where Kraven has put this guy at, and just look at the artwork, very beautiful. Cap saves him. Cap versus a jaguar, you gotta love it. But yeah, he saves this guy, and what's this guy's name? Oh, his name is David Cotter. He's a student at Virginia Tech, and he was backpacking through Europe, and then he went to sleep, and yeah, but look at that. So Kraven is on the hunt. I like Chris Samnee's design of Kraven, again, killing it with the character design. So Cap and this David, they're going through this jungle trying to get to a safe spot, and meanwhile they're facing all the trials and traps that Kraven set up. But yeah, so yeah, this throughout they're just going through trying to survive. Cap saving this guy multiple times, trying not to get him killed. So yeah, again, very most dangerous game, Indiana Jones, swashbuckling adventure type of story right here. So yeah, they reach to the ends. Because they're heading towards the ocean. That's where they're heading towards. But yeah, they see the ocean, but the guy, he steps on a mine because they're in a minefield. Cap again tries to tell him to remain calm, and well, he disables the mine, But what happens here? Another double cross. Man, everybody just double crossing Cap. This guy was a plant by Kraven. And Kraven is very amused. But now Cap has had enough of Kraven's shit. So their fight, really cool. Really cool. They fall over. Cap is trying to save Kraven, but Kraven's like, nah, man. So they fall over. Let go. Cap very resourceful with his shield. And then the terrorist group, they come back. So apparently they've been tracking Captain America, and they have a huge freeze gun. And guess what? Cap, he's about to become an icicle because they put him in ice. What? So this is the second time he's been trapped in ice. So this is where the story takes a turn, an unexpected turn. So this second half of the trade, it's pretty much Days of Future Past, but with Captain America. So Cap, he gets unthawed by this random group of people and a talking dog right here. But they're all in like military gear and you're not sure what's going on. And this woman, her name is Liang. That is her name. And Cap, he wakes and whoa, what's with all these people? Why are like, it's all like sci-fi looking and mutant looking. What's going on? Cap's freaking out. And then they tell him like, Cap, well, you're home. Welcome to America. So Cap awakes once again from the ice. This time he's further into the future and he's in a dystopian version of the future. We don't know what happens. And again, artwork, great. So he's with the resistance. These oligarchs have taken over the country. They had displayed him. They put him on display. Yeah, it's just, this story got really, it took a turn that I wasn't expecting, and I really appreciated that. And it's revealed that that terrorist group, Rampart. So Liang and the rest of the resistance, they're just giving Cap the rundown of what's been going on in the country since he had been frozen again. And it's revealed that Ramparts, that terrorist group, they've taken over certain parts of the country. And again, Liang is with the resistance and they had to leave one of their colleagues behind right here. And Cap, he wasn't happy. He wanted to go back for him, but they had to hold him down and tell him like, hey, there's very few of us. We have to, if we go after him, we'll all die and the resistance will be for nothing. And so it's a pretty emotional moment because being who Steve is, he wants to save everybody, but in this, he just can't. And they explained to him what had happened. Pretty much the nuclear war went down and a lot of the population got killed or mutated. And this dude, what's his name? Yeah, he's the leader of the Rampart. He's Babington, Maximilian Babington. He declared himself king. And yeah, it's pretty much all these oligarchs are controlling the country. And reading this issue, considering what's going on in the country today with all these billionaires getting richer and these oligarchs controlling the country, because they are. I mean, just look at, not to get too political, but look at Trump's inauguration speech, who's standing all behind him? All these billionaires, the 1%. But anyway, I digress. But so it was just reading this story now, and this was released almost 10 years ago, but just reading this, it's so relevant in today that Mark Waid and Chris Samnee, I mean, this came out probably during Trump's first term, so they could probably foresee what kind of where the country was going towards just based on what he was doing at the time. So I just really, and I could be reaching, I can totally be reaching, but that's what I just got from it. So the resistance, just Liang shows Cap where they're staying at, and then it's revealed that it's 2025 in this story, which made it even crazier how, like, oh man, my mind was blown when they said it was 2025. So it covers the bad guys again, very bad guy coded. And yeah, so pretty much they're after Cap. They're trying to destroy the resistance, and they're using drones to target any imagery that could lead to Cap. And Cap, Cap, he has to, protect those who can't protect themselves. So he fights with the resistance. And then eventually, he starts to rally the people. I thought this image was really cool. Just again, look at how detailed the backgrounds, the foregrounds, just again, really cool design by Samnee. And so, yeah, the next issue, he's continuing building the resistance, and we discover that Ramparts, they had somehow took over Hulk, and so I thought, look at how the design of Hulk's really cool. So Cap, he's trying to get through the Hulk, and he has to. They fight, and he had to use a bunch of C4 to get Hulk to change back to Banner. And Banner told him that him and Cap, their conversation, that Bruce had told Cap that King Babington, he brainwashed the Hulk, and that after the Atomic War, there's really nothing left to do, and the Avengers, the X-Men, the Secret Warriors, no one survived. But Bruce tells him that only two of them did, two of the heroes, and they're the only two that can withstand that much radiation. And since the Hulk's all gamma radiation, it makes sense for him to survive. So yeah, and then Cap, he decides to infiltrate King Babington's stronghold, and they go through the piping, and then they run into Ben Grimm, the Thing. So he is the other superhero that survived the atomic blast, and he says he's there to power the Thing. He thinks he's powering the city and to keep everybody alive, but Cap tells him that no, he's been lied to. He's actually powering this stronghold for the villains. And Ben, he gets pissed, and he starts to work with Cap to gain entry further into the stronghold. So they're trying to confront King Babington. I just thought really cool action scene, and I thought the Thing, it's clobbering time, and he breaks a hole through the stronghold, allowing the resistance to infiltrate. And then Cap, he meets with King Babington, who's this weird looking dude. But this guy, look how gross he looks. pretty nasty. So yeah, he has telekinetic abilities, that's how he controlled the Hulk. But Cap resisted, and he defeats him. And then, yeah, he overthrows King Babington. And the Resistance, well, originally, Cap, he offers that Liang take up leadership, but the Resistance anoints him the de facto leader. They anoint him the leader because, you know, that's Cap. He's the leader. He's usually depicted as the leader. And the last issue is we see here Liang, day 72 of the New America. Liang is talking with Bruce. They're developing some sort of device, while Cap there's still remaining legions of Rampart throughout the country, so he's still at war. Just because the main leader dies doesn't mean their ideology dies. So really cool. Just going through the Resistance versus Rampart. Look at that. Badass right there. Really badass. So yeah, but eventually, you know, Cap is super focused on liberating all the areas that are still being controlled by Rampart. But Liang is telling him, hey, to prevent all this from happening, we should send you back to prevent it. And Cap's like, no. Cap, he refuses, essentially. He's like, no, this is my home now, and this is where I'm needed. So he's reluctant, and he wants to get America back to what it once was. So he decides to stay. So I thought that was very surprising. There's this part where, again, they're telling Cap that he should go back in time, and just him and Bruce are having this conversation about it, and it reminded me of just Avengers Endgame, where I think it's Ant-Man, Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, and Cap, Chris Evans. They go to Tony's cabin to, you know, tell him about going through using the quantum realm to travel back in time. So that.
And now you want to pull a, what do you call it?
A time heist?
Yeah, time heist.
This reminded me of that conversation between Bruce and Cap reminded me of that. And then, you know, they're still fighting. They're losing parts, but look at this. Nuclear blast happens. And Cap, look at it, he's just like, whoa, what is going on? I thought we were winning this. And so, yeah, Cap, he decides that it's best for him to go back in time, because no matter what he does in this new future, it's too far gone. So he has this last conversation with Bruce and Liang, and Liang tells him like, hey, goodbye, Steve. Just do one thing for me. And Steve's like, Naaman, look me up sometime. So he travels back into the past, and he goes to the moment where Rampart first iced him, but he realizes that he got there too early. So there's two Caps at this point. So he goes through the sub, and this is Babington before he got all mutated. And Cap, he tries to fight him, and Cap, he gets the best of him, but King Babington releases the warhead that causes that dystopian future. kickstarting Cap, he essentially sacrifices himself to prevent that future from happening. So this part was just incredible. It shows who Cap is as just a person, and he'll sacrifice himself to save the world, and I really thought that was incredible. So the future Steve, look at this, he sacrifices himself to prevent the atomic blast from happening, and then his past self who got frozen, he breaks free, and that's how it ends. And he eventually sends Liang a letter. So that's kind of confusing. Well, no, he doesn't. My apologies. He doesn't send Liang a letter. He's writing to Sharon Carter, telling him about his journey and his road trip and his travels through the country, and then, well, not necessarily reaching out to Liang. He ends up giving Liang the letter to Sharon. So I thought that was a cool way to end it. And then I'm not really gonna go over Mark Waid. He did there's another backup story Mark Waid did, and with some artwork by Jack Kirby. I'm not going to go over that, but that was pretty much the end of the trade. And yeah, I just thought this was really, really incredible. Highly recommend to anybody who hasn't read this. Definitely recommend. Again, Mark Waid, Chris Samnee, they don't miss. Reading the Black Widow collection and this. I'm getting the omnibus that's coming out in a couple months, so definitely want to get that hardcover, oversized artwork. Beautiful. But yeah, this was great. Highly recommend. And yeah, so that was it for this episode of Trade Talk Tuesdays. For next week, I'm going to be discussing 8 Billion Genies, and this is from Image Comics, and this is by writer Charles Soule and the artist Ryan Browne. I read the first issue a few months ago, and I really liked it, so I've been really looking forward to reading this. So this will be next week. So, but yeah, thanks again to those who watched the video. Let me know if you read Captain America by Mark Waid and Chris Samnee, and if you have, let me know your thoughts about it. And just, yeah, leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Share the video if you can, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I mean, come on now, subscribe. Going for 1,000. But yeah, thanks again, and that's been another episode of Trade Talk Tuesdays. I'm Chris Gonzalez. I'm out. Peace.